so schön, dass Sie da
Well, it's a great feeling that you're all here,
an Sie zu Hause.
and hello to you at home.
Herzlich willkommen im
A warm welcome to the Palais Wittgenstein and to PLOS, a project for an aging world.
Ich bin Liko Fang.
My name is Nico Fang.
Ich bin 40
I am
plus.
40 plus. Mark Franz and me, we are the initiators and organizers of the PLOS project.
Plus ist ein interdisziplinaries,
PLOS is an interdisciplinary and international project
das wir nur seit fast 2 Jahren.
that we have now been preparing for almost 2 years now.
Das war gar nicht einfach.
It wasn't easy at all under these conditions of the current situation.
Deshalb
And that's why
wir uns sehr
we are very pleased
WissenschaftlerInnen,
to see scientists
KünstlerInnen
and artists and people
allen Bereichen
from all fields of life come together
Fragen
in order to ask questions,
reflektieren,
to reflect on them,
ein Thema
and to exchange experiences.
uns alle betrifft, das
Experiences that we all feel ourselves, which is aging and age. As Liko has just said, it wasn't easy at all to plan this project, and that was also due to the fact that it was our own goal to also reflect the complexity and diversity of this topic. And so we had the idea to use art, culture, and nature and society, so the broad public, to bring them together in order to highlight many perspectives on age and aging. But we don't really want to find final answers, but rather we want to ask questions and find out what kind of questions we have not asked yet, despite the developments of research. Today's symposium is a very important pillar in our project. We will meet important experts in the field of age research from very different disciplines. And our 5 project artists are also present today, and I would like to warmly welcome them: Niki Karokura, Yoko Kaseki, Klaus Bögel, Jan Grashoff, and did I forget someone? Inagaki Yokomo. I'm sorry. We look forward to experience the chemistry between the participants of the symposium, and also we look forward to the exchange that will take place afterwards. And we'd also like to thank all supporters, all sponsors, the Ministry of Culture and Science of North Rhine-Westphalia, the Art Foundation North Rhine-Westphalia, the Cultural Office of the City of Düsseldorf, and of Awalaki in Osaka, in Japan, without whom and without whose money we would not have been able to put this project into practice. And we would also like to thank our project partners who helped us implement these different presentations: the FFT Düsseldorf, the Theatre Museum Düsseldorf, the CK Research Center, and let me just take a look at my sheet. Literaturbüro North Rhine-Westphalia, Intermedia Art Institute in Düsseldorf, the Film Cinema Art Düsseldorf, and Public Group. And not to forget, Caritas Düsseldorf and Diakonie Düsseldorf, who supported our project artists very much and helped put into practice great events. Thank you so much to all of you. Our host today for this symposium is Peter Grabowski. Peter, the floor is yours. Oh, it's not. It will soon be his. And then he will help us moderate through the day. But before we pass on the microphone to Peter. We would like to welcome the Consul General of Japan in North Rhine-Westphalia, Mr. Iwama.
Gut. Sehr geehrte Frau
Ms. Fang,
Herr Franz,
Mr. Franz,
meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren.
ladies and gentlemen,
Es ist mir eine Ehre,
it is a great honor for me to be here at this symposium, Time Shifts, Age and Society, and to give you my welcoming speech. I would like to warmly welcome the TAIFUN Project Association and everybody involved in the organization.
als japanischer General
As Consul General of Japan, I'm very pleased that these long-term projects in the first year have made a comparison between Germany and Japan. And I have to admit that at the beginning, when I started as a diplomat, a career of a diplomat, to see a topic of today's symposium, I haven't met it that often during my career.
inzwischen sehe ich aber
But today,
in Deutschland
I can see that in Germany and also in Japan, the topic of the aging society has become more and more important and popular and has huge effects on society.
angemessene Thematik.
So I think this is a very important topic for our bilateral partnership.
Weltweit gehören unsere Länder
Worldwide, our countries, Germany and Japan, are amongst the nations with the highest aging ratio or percentage. Statistically speaking, we are in third and first place when it comes to the number of population, so people living in these countries older than 60 years.
hier in
And by the way, here in North Rhine-Westphalia, there are many Japanese citizens.
hier leben auch sehr viele Japaner, die zu
So
einer
Japanese citizens who also are part of an older generation.
im Sinne von meiner Aufgabe als General
So as part of my task as a Consul General, this challenge, the demographic change, is very topical and very important. We support the activity of those
Bedürfnisse unserer
who are in need of care, so elderly people in Düsseldorf and around.
meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Eine Alterswelt,
an aging world poses a lot of challenges.
sie hat einen maßgeblichen Einfluss
It has a huge influence on the structure of social security.
auf die Anpassung des Gesundheitssystems,
So the health system needs to be adapted.
entsprechende Ressourcen.
And we also need resources,
Auch sollten wir Familienpolitik
and the family policy and social welfare need to be kept in mind.
akademische und soziale Studien
Academic and social studies will give us more information
bedeutsame
here during this symposium.
wie die Gesellschaft
And we will see the research on how society is changing and what the new situations are and how we can adapt to this.
aber es gibt noch
However,
weiteren wichtigen
there's another important aspect which I would like to point out. It's
alternde Welt.
the term aging world, because this is also something very personal, because all of us will be aging sometime. We all age, so I think everybody should think about how it is living in a society when you are an elderly person and how you want to age.
Die Herangehensweise an
And the approach on this question can differ from country to country,
Abhängigkeit von den
depending on the different traditions and cultures.
eine Auseinandersetzung
So we need to have debates on this topic and deal with that. So we need to focus on that. And I can very well understand that the Project Plus
Einbeziehung von
cooperates with scientists and artists from Germany and Japan. An open discussion and learning from other cultures can help today's society a lot. And I'm much interested in finding out new approaches and discussions in today's project presentations. In my view, today's event is much more ambitious than usually because the combination of scientific analysis and art is something spatial. So aging is here the motto, really, or the core principle. Unfortunately, tonight I have another appointment, so I cannot stay until the end of today's event. Nevertheless, I look very much forward to taking a look at the results of the project. So I wish you a successful event with interesting discussions and inspiration. Thank you very much.
And I would like to thank Kimonori Iwama, the Consul General of Japan in North Rhine-Westphalia. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Palais Wittgenstein in Düsseldorf and all of you at home who are watching on their screens. When did the tides turn in society? This opportunistic approach called Zeitgeist, when did it shift? Time and aging. Stefan Zweig wrote numerous works and he died way too young in 1942. He described how he perceived during his life the first mental age turn. In modern times, characterized by the bourgeoisie, youth was less valuable. It was sort of suspicious. It had to be overcome. And once you had become an adult, only then were you valued as a full member of society, regardless of child labor. Around the change of the millennium to the 20th century, all of a sudden youth became an ideal phase of life. Young people stopped dressing like old people. Young people stopped wearing big beards because they felt they didn't want to seem older than they were. The young body became something everyone wanted to reach, and everyone wanted to be thin, by the way. A magazine simply called Youth became very popular, and in the German language area, the Jugendstil era is called Art Nouveau in English and French, by the way, but in Germany it was called after the title of this magazine. But Art Nouveau is a very nice name, in fact, because it's about reinvention, new things, new developments, and that fits perfectly to the Western way of capitalism, of consumerism, with new goods and services that are just waiting to be consumed. Industries are cladding themselves in the fashion of youth to become attractive. This development then reached new heights when Janis Joplin came up with the slogan, "Live fast, die young," and Jimi Hendrix and Jim Morrison are other sad examples of artists who have died too young. A country singer by the name of Young said, "Live fast, love hard, die young." That was the new slogan. The first three artists, Joplin, Morrison, and Hendrix, they only became 27 years of age, but Young lived to see the age of 64. 64. What a number. What a number if we want to pursue this train of thought. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? That's the famous line, of course. A line asked by Paul McCartney, who was, by the way, only 25 years old, on the album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band of the Beatles. That was back in 1967. And it was contrary to any type of zeitgeist back then. 30 years later, pop culture and the mood that went hand in hand with it took a turn. By the way, Young died in that very year, the creator of the chronic Live Fast, Die Young, and then Robbie Williams
I get old.
created this slogan, Hope I Get Old Before I Die, and this whole notion of aging took a new turn, and this new hope I will get old before I die. How fitting is that if the life expectancy is ever more increasing? 70 is the new 50, 50 is the new 30, and 30 is what exactly? There will not be a final answer, but let me quote someone who is the youngest icon of the global pop culture machine, Billie Eilish. 3 weeks ago, she launched Happier Than Ever, an album that went to be #1 in sales and streaming. She's only 19, that lady, and she has published a song called Getting Older, where she describes her experiences with age and growing up. She said she was so happy that she was able to leave behind certain aspects of her youth. Keep in mind, that lady is only 19 years old. Right, we've come full circle. Culture in connection with age and aging will be taken up by the first speaker and then the last two speakers and their presentations. I'm a journalist for cultural politics, and I wanted to point this out to you. To today's symposium, you can take numerous approaches, you can adopt numerous perspectives from life sciences, from art, but Mark Franz and Nico Fang said it wonderfully. The project for an aging world follows the idea, as they said before, we are not here to give you final answers. We are here to look for questions. I'm looking forward to a fascinating afternoon and evening, which we will conclude with a panel discussion on potential options, potential futures of age and aging. We will not be able to have a Q&A after each presentation, unfortunately. However, if you have any questions for clarification in between, go ahead and raise them. But if the questions can wait, please hold your thoughts until the end of the symposium, and then we can engage in a vivid discussion. Any questions written down in the online chat are collected during the day, and I might take them up here live, and there will be a break at 4 p.m., so that's another option to ask questions. If you are following us via Zoom or YouTube, please know that this symposium has a simultaneous translation. So currently you're listening to the English translation of the German original. However, if an English speaker later on will take the floor, this is the right channel for you, English-speaking listeners, and then the German-speaking listeners would have to switch the channel to listen to the translation.